I'm the Urban Domestic Diva. Welcome to my backyard, and today we're going to be putting in a self-watering system in the gardens. And we're going to have a guest today, actually, who's going to help us do this, and it's my hubby. So I'm going to turn it over to him.
Hi, I'm the Urban Domestic Diva's husband, and I'm here to help today, and we're going to put in a watering system in her shade garden and her sun garden and in the herb and vegetable garden. Basically, if you're away from the house a lot, you work all the time, you go on vacation during the summer, you're going to want a watering system that's going to help you keep your plants healthy and well watered. So that's basically why we decided to do it, and I'm going to show you all the ins and outs of creating this watering system. So we're going to have two separate systems. We're going to have a watering system that's going to be less water for the shade garden, so we're going to split it into two. And the other section is going to be the sunny area of the garden, which is up on the deck in window boxes, and also in the back sunny part of the garden. So we're going to split that in two, and I'll show you how that works, and let's get to it. This is our sun garden. And this is our shade garden. Gets a little bit of sun. And these are our deck boxes, which we'll be hooking up a water system to. So before you get started, you're going to want to do a little planning. You're going to need to bring out a tape measure and measure your gardens that you want to set up your watering system. And you need to do a rough sketch of kind of the layout of your garden, and then you're going to want to measure everything and write down the measurements, and then you're going to have to tally everything and get all your hosing and connectors and everything. So let's take a look. First of all, I wrote down all my measurements and I tallied them. And this is kind of like all the different things that we need for our project. You're going to have hoses, you're going to have connectors, you're going to need a converter from your house to the hoses, and you're going to need a timer, some risers for sprinklers, and miscellaneous, which I'll show you as we go along. But basically I went through and I measured all the area of the garden and figured about 3.5 feet between each sprinkler. Now I'm not doing many drippers, maybe a couple, and they're going to be drippers slash misters, and I'm mostly going to do those up on the hanging baskets on the deck. But most of the garden is going to be sprinklers. So I went through and I figured out the area, the length and the width of the garden, and I made a little map and figured out how many sprinklers go in each section. And then once you do that, you count them all up and count the total footage around your garden, how much hose you're going to need, and then you tally it all. And then that becomes your shopping list. There you have it. And now I will show you exactly how to assemble it once you get all the equipment. So first one we're going to do is shade garden, and I'll show you some of the parts. Right here.
Okay, coming down.
This is the first thing you want, so you have a little bit of play from the timer to the four-way split. Then you're going to have your timer hooked up to that. Then below the timer you're going to have a hose thread anti-siphon. Then you're going to hook in a hose thread pressure regulator, and then you're going to go down to your hose, which is going to go throughout your garden, which is a smaller 3/4 inch hose, or a 1/2 inch, I'm sorry. There you have it. And then you're going to drag all your hosing throughout your garden from this one tap. one, just hand tighten. That's done. And then you hook it up to your timer, and voila. Next part that we're going to use is a T-section in the garden. We're going to go off this way and this way, and then we're going to push the hose down into the ground to set it so it doesn't move. We're also going to take this hose and we're going to fasten it to the wall, but not right at the moment. I'll do it later. Right now I just want to make sure it's going to go, we're going to caulk it into the seam of the sidewalk, and then so I assembled the hose onto the 4-split, and we're going to run a line, which eventually will be a more permanent thing, but for now I ran a hose into the side of the house, or into the side of the deck. I'm going to do the deck boxes, and then underneath the deck I have my split, and the hose ran along the inside of the deck. Here's my timer that I've run from underneath the deck on the outside, and then we're coming up right next to the stairs, coming out, and then up and across all the way, nailing it up against the deck so it's kind of hidden. And then on the other side, we are coming out right from in here, and then up, splitting, one to the right and then one up top, and then that is going to go across all the way this way. So let's do a close-up on how to assemble this. So the first thing you're going to want to do once you get up to the upper part of the deck is you're going to want to measure your distance across, so you can have one full line of tubing. And then once you get it measured out, you cut it, and it's time to install into your elbow. And all you do is you press it in and wiggle it around, and there you have it. And now you're going to want to hammer it in to...
Can you show that piece?
Oh, the elbow?
No, the piece you're about to hammer in.
Oh.
Thank you.
This is just to tie it down. There you have it. And we're going to tie it down all the way across the upper part of the deck, and we'll tap into it later. I'm going to set up some sprayers on this flower box here. This right here is one that I've already done. I've installed it. But basically you're looking at about a 3-foot spray radius, which is like this. That's the max. So that's going to pretty much cover this whole box. Now, you want to get right in the middle. So, first thing you do, of course we've already installed our tubing. You want to punch a hole in the tubing with this tool, and the hole looks like that. You don't want to push through the whole tubing to the other side. You just want to push into the top, because then what I'm going to do, I'm going to get my mister. Here's a riser, and here's the head. Basically you take the riser and the head of the mister, and you just twist it together. And it screws right into it. Now you can take this off and adjust it by cutting the riser to the height you want it. If it's too long, you can always shorten it. Okay. Then you take the riser. I'm going to open it up so I know it's already pre-opened. And I'm going to push it right into there. That's it. It self-seals. Once the water pressure comes on, it'll back in and then seal it. So if we don't like the height of this in the future, we can adjust it. We can make it shorter. But I think it should be fine. But we'll see. Okay, so I've already started tapping some of the main arteries I put through the shade garden, and I put in some sprinkler heads, as you can see here. And in a minute I'm going to show you how to assemble a sprinkler head. And here's what it looks like when it's all put together and working. You can set your timer to manual, set the time, switch it over, hit manual a second time, and then voila. You can adjust the spray heads to get a little flow or a lot of flow. It sprays about a circumference of about, I'd say, 5 feet if you have it full blast. Also depends on how many sprinkler heads you have on it, but right now I only have about 7, 8. So that can affect it. But, you know, with this quantity, it's not that much, so you're going to be able to get full flow out of these things. So figure max radius about 5 feet, and then you could, like, thin it down from there to 2 feet or whatever you need it to be. You can adjust the sprinkler heads. Now I'm going to show you how to assemble a sprinkler head. Alright, there's 3 pieces to a sprinkler head. There's the part, the stake that you put in the ground, you also hook in the hose. There's the riser, and then there's the actual sprinkler head. To assemble, all you do is screw this on.
That's the sprinkler head?
Yes. And it's pretty easy, just screw on like so. And I just loosen it up to start with. Then the other part goes right here. Inside there's a little spike. Just kind of ease it onto there. And next I'll show you how to hook up the hose. The first thing you want to do to set up your sprinkler is you of course have to set up your main artery throughout your garden. Once that's done, you want to get a riser like this if you want to get a little more height, or you can just stake it right into the ground. I want a little more height so it spreads a little farther and gets up over some of this higher foliage. So I'm going to put in, I'm figuring this is going to spray about 3.5 feet around. So I'm going to put it right about here. Put it into the ground. And then we put our sprinkler head right up in there. The next thing you're going to want to do is get your 1/4 inch tubing, and there's a spike connector that comes with it, with the sprinkler head. You put it in to the hose, and you're probably going to need a wrench to push it in. Right angles you can use also, which keeps it closer to the ground. I'm just going to punch sideways so it goes closer to the ground anyway. So right down in here is my hose.
So that's your main artery.
Yeah. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to push in here till I break through. And you got to make sure you don't break the opposite side, so you get a hole in your tube. So you just want to push it through, and water comes out if you've already started using it. Then you push in your plug, measure, push down your tubing so it hides it, measure to where you want to go, and cut it. I'm using some Fiskar scissors, gardening shears, and I'm going to cut it right about there. You can always tie off with a twist tie to your stake. If you want it cleaner, then you take this off, push it into the spike, and there you have it. You're done. Other than like possibly tying this off. That's it.
And adjusting your sprinkler head.
Yeah, you'll do that once you turn on the
Yeah,
water.
you'll have to see.
When you're ending a main artery in the sprinkler system, you want to crimp the end and just simply put a tie back that holds it crimped so there's no water leaking. But that's basically how you end a specific run. So this is the final product of our dual zone sprinkler system. This is the shade garden. You'll notice that I spaced to accommodate like a 4-foot sprinkling radius to each sprinkler head, so they overlap a little bit. Some areas I didn't overlap because I thought the radius of the sprinkler head was doing a pretty good job of covering this whole area. Other sprinkler head. This is the sun portion of our sprinkler system, which covers the deck, the flower boxes. And then it also branches off into the garden, which comes along here, which in turn, you can see the hose goes right across the sidewalk and then back to the vegetable garden. Areas in your garden that are kind of smaller areas, you want to just kind of broadcast a mist. This is kind of what it looks like. And I'm basically just creating a mist for the flower boxes, because a sprinkler head would broadcast too far. This kind of just distributes the water all over a broad range of plants up on our deck here. You'll find that once you set up all your sprinkler systems, there's going to be areas that are going to be missed, whether it be because there's plants that are going to be in the way, or it's overlapping, the sprinkler heads are overlapping funny. So you can always just tap into your main artery and put in, like, say, a mister, like back in here. Or you could do a drip. They also have drip heads, which is a much slower way of watering.